Okay, I'm going to start here. So this one is a recap of yesterday. Okay, so this was a recap of yesterday, which is solving two systems of equations by graphing them. So here we go. I'm going to start with this line, because that's already mx plus b form. So I know there's a y-intercept at 10. And I know the slope is -2, so the staircase is going to go down to right 1. I'm going to do it a couple times here just to make sure I am on track. Somebody say they didn't know where this was. Was that Grace? Is that where it is? You found it?
Yeah, I found it.
Okay, the other equation we have to analyze here. What is the slope? What is the y-intercept? So again, you pick what kind of person you are. Are you just the algebra person? Are you the formula person? If you're the formula person, you will have those in front of you. If you're the algebra person, okay, whatever method you picked, if you were the algebra or if you were the formula, did we get to the same position where our y-intercept is -1? And our slope is 3/4? Did we all reach to that? Okay, so that means let's graph it. -1 is the y-intercept. Up 3 and right 4. And mine intersected, so the solution is where they intersect, which is, looks like a 4, comma, 2. And again, on your test, you can check your own answers by just plugging them into the equations, right? So when you go 3 times 4, subtract 4 times 2, subtract 4, it should equal 0 by plugging 4 in to replace the x and 2 to replace the y. Okay, so that was yesterday's. Now, we have 2 more methods to go. So that was graphing. So let's start with some substitution. Okay, substitution is replacing something. So if this is equal to y, this 2x minus 7 is equal to y, I'm going to substitute that for the y. Does that make sense in math? If it's equal, it can be used interchanging. Okay, so it's going to look like this. 2x subtract 5 bracket So there I was replacing the y. Does that make sense to you? I replaced the y. Is that okay? Everyone's good with this substitution and math? Okay, now the rest of this is algebra skills. So where would you go with your first algebraic maneuver here? What would be the best thing to start with?
Brackets.
The brackets. So I want you to be doing that to the brackets. So you still have the 2x in the front. And then subtract 10x. Be careful with the signs of the next thing. Did you write a plus 35? And then there's a plus 5 and it equals 0. Okay, we're going to have to solve for x, so let's group like terms. So minus 8x, because that gets grouped, plus 40, those can go together. You can only put things together if they're the same. Okay, I'm going to move the 8x. So I got x equals 5. But I'm not done, because what should it produce at the end? It should produce an intersection coordinate. So what else do I need? If I have x, now I need to go find the y. So I'm going to go to this equation is way easier than this one, right? It doesn't matter, but this one's already set up for me. Y equals 2 times 5 minus 7. So now I know what x is. 2 times x, but I know x is 5. So your answer should be written as a coordinate. That would be my final answer. Okay, again, you can go in here. So if I'm in my calculator, 2 bracket 5, subtract 5 bracket 3, plus 5, right? I plugged it in. And it should, when I push equals, it should equal 0 if I did it all right. Yep, it worked. So you can always do that on a test. Check your answer by plugging it in. Okay. I'm going to skip that one because it's basically the same. Maybe we'll try this one because I see a fraction involved here. Okay, y equals, actually doesn't matter what you do here. So if y equals this, I can replace it into the other equation. You have to take it from one equation into another equation replaced. So if I replaced this y, it would be 2x minus 6 So everybody sees what I did. I replaced this y with that. That's my substitution. Good? Algebra, what do you want to do? There's something that I really don't want to work with here. Fractions. So in the fractions, there is a fraction with a 3 on the bottom. So what kind of math could I do to get rid of that? Multiply. Multiply by 3. Remember that this is the same as my children. If one of them gets candy, they all have to get candy. So if I give each 3 candies, 3 times as many candies, they all have to. So every single thing. So can you rewrite the sentence, math sentence, with everything tripled? So you do it and then look at mine and see if we did the same thing. Okay, does this make sense? When I times this by 3, it just canceled. That's all it did there on that one. Okay, now what do you want to do? I'm trying to get my x's on the same side would be my next thought. Do you want to subtract 6x here, or would you like to subtract x there? Which one would maybe be better? I'm going to get rid of the one that's smaller. Does that make sense? Algebra steps here. And then you should add 18. And that's a fraction, so that's fine. Okay, so what do I do now? If I know x, I gotta go back and figure out y. Which equation do you want to plug it into? It doesn't really matter. You can either plug it into this one or this one. We'll pick the first one. Y equals 2 times 9/5, subtract 6. So I'm going to write 2 as a 2 over 1. Okay, so 2 times 9 is on the top, so that's an 18 over a 5 minus 6 over 1. I'm doing this all without my calculator. How do you work with fractions without your calculator? What do you want to do here? Common denominator. So I'm going to change this bottom to be a 5. So if I times it by 5, then this top would become 30. And another fraction answer, 18 subtract 30. Okay, I'm going to show you what we do in applied math in grade 11. Okay, so let's pretend I had this problem in an applied course. So y equals 2x minus 6. So in this fancy calculator that we get, I go y equals, and I type 2x minus 6. Okay, and then the second line is 1/3 x, what is it, minus 3. And then I graph it, and then there's the one line, there's the other line. So it graphs it for me. And the solution is here, where they meet, where they intersect, right? That's the solution. So I'm going to calculate the intersection on this line, and intersect 1.8 comma negative 2.4. Is that the same as our answer? So 1.8 comma negative 2.4. This is 1.8, right? Yeah. That's the same number. And this, if you divided it, it's negative 2.4. Okay, let's jump to number 5. Okay, find the solution by substitution. This, it's not going to work right now because I don't have just an x equals or just a y equals. So we have to isolate something somewhere. What do you guys want to do? The x on this one, the y on this one, the x on this one, the y on this one. One of them will look easier than anything else. Anybody want to take a guess at which one we should do? The x or the y on this one, or the x or y on this one? The second one looks like some easier math. What do you want to pick? The x alone or the y alone? The y alone? Okay. Actually, you know what? Is it okay if I switch to the x alone because we haven't done an x one yet? Is that okay? 2x equals move. So if you want 2x, you got to move everything over, right? So there's my trying to isolate x, and then I still have to divide everything. When you do something, you do everything. Okay, how's our algebra stuff? That's good? Same? Everybody? Now, if this is equal to x, guess what I'm going to do? Substitute it into the x of the other equation. So this, you can go in there and substitute the x. So 2 bracket replace so there's a substitution. Algebra here, give me the brackets, collect, isolate. See if you can do it on your own. Brackets, collect, isolate. Okay, so what I did was my bracket distribution there, collected the y's, so I got 7y, collected the numbers, moved, divided, that's the isolation part, y equals 2. Okay, so then I went back up here, and if y equals 2, x equals 2 plus 3, so x would equal 5. So my final answer is written how so? Which one should I put first, the 2 or the 5? 5, comma 2. Remember, your points are always x first, right? X, comma y.